Hi everyone, I'm Roger. I'm a chef from UKHarvest food rescue charity, and today we're going to be making plain white bread. So first things first, you're going to need clean hands, so make sure they're washed and thoroughly clean. Next, I remove my wedding ring, don't tell the wife. Right, so ingredients wise, we're looking at strong white flour, 500 grams. We're looking at 350 grams of blood temperature, about 27 degrees centigrade of warm water. Looking at 30 grams of butter. You're looking at a teaspoonful of salt, 7 grams of yeast, and a couple of good pinches of household sugar. Okay, and now for the sciencey bit. To make our bread nice, light and fluffy, we're going to need to use yeast. So the yeast we're going to put into a bowl. We're going to add our water, about a third of it. It's not exact. And our sugar. The sugar and the yeast react together to create air bubbles, and that's what gives bread its lovely light, springy nature. Just whisk them carefully all together. Until it's all nice and incorporated. And then we just set this aside for about 15 minutes just to start fermenting. What you want to see eventually is a load of bubbles on the surface. Okay, so this is the next stage. We're going to take another bowl. We've got a sieve and we're going to start sieving our flour. So here we go. Sieve, sieve, sieve away. Add the salt, that can all go in. And this all helps with the aeration process of the finished product. So next we add the butter. And we just start breaking that up through the flour mixture. So the butter's going to add a little bit more moisture and a bit more yumminess to the actual bread mix. So rub away until it's gone into sort of fine particles. This will only take a minute. Okay, good. So our yeast is reacting. You can see from the surface that there's bubbling going on, there's slight foaming going on. So we know that our yeast is alive and active. That's great. So now moving over to the bowl, I make a well in the center and I start then adding all my liquid. Just pour it in. And then I just start bringing the flour into the mixture and stirring it. And you can see it's slowly starting to all come together. Get your fingers in there. That's the reason I took my wedding ring off earlier. Great. As you can see, very quickly it starts pulling together and we already have a dough starting to sort of take shape. Very quickly it will start leaving the sides of the bowl, and that's precisely what we're looking for. So I've scraped down my hands and I'm now just going to put a slight sprinkling of flour onto a clean table area. Lift up my dough and start working it on the floured surface. This now is the kneading process. This process is the process that activates the gluten, the protein in the flour. You need to do this for a good 10 minutes until you have a really nice, silky, smooth mixture. The process is a matter of stretching out the dough. So give it a little turn and push it out. Give it a little turn and push it out. Give it a little turn and push it out. Folding it over and pushing, this stretches the gluten strands. It's what gives bread its springiness, and it also then distributes the yeast particles throughout the dough. Okay, so I've given this about a good 10 minutes kneading now, and as you can see, it's lovely, smooth. It's got this lovely kind of elastic kind of quality to it. So all I need to do now is just ball it up and put it into my bowl, which I've slightly kind of oiled just to sort of stop the dough from sort of sticking to the sides. So that goes into my bowl, and I just put a little bit of cling film over the top. So I should just set that aside now for about an hour and a half until it's doubled in size. So there we are. It's been an hour and a half. The yeast has done its job, and as you can see, the dough has risen double in its size. So we're all ready now to knock the dough back. A little sprinkle of flour on the table, just to stop it sticking, and turn your dough out onto the board. We just give it a light knead, and this helps us produce a more consistent bread dough. It just allows the bigger air bubbles to be broken down, so you end up with a more consistent loaf at the end of the cooking. Okay, our loaf's ready, so I'm just going to pick it up carefully and put it into a 2-pound loaf tin. I've already previously buttered around the inside, obviously just stop it sticking whilst it's cooking. To this we then just apply a sheet of cling film over the top that I lightly oiled earlier. That just needs to go into a warm place for another 45 minutes until it's doubled in size again. Okay, so here we are. We've got our loaf. It's risen for 45 minutes. The yeast has done its job and it's doubled in size. I'm just going to carefully pull back the cling film paper. Good. Get rid of that. Optional, but a slight dusting over with a little bit of flour on the top surface. Okay, so we've got the loaf ready. It's going straight now into a hot oven at about 220 degrees centigrade for approximately 40-45 minutes. Okay, so here we are, 45 minutes later. The loaf should be beautifully cooked. Oh, it's smelling gorgeous. Straight out onto the cooling rack. Close the oven up and tip it out gently. Mind your fingers. Everything's going to be really hot at this point. Turn the loaf back over. Oh, just quick check. If it's got that lovely hollow sound, it means it's done. So turn it out, and we leave that now for a good half hour to cool down. Okay, so here we are, moment of truth. Let's take our lovely warm loaf. It's had about 15 minutes cooling. Oh, you can just smell it. It just smells absolutely lovely. There we are, beautiful sort of range of bubbles, not too aerated. And let's go in with a nice bit of butter. Oh. Really nice and absolutely delicious. Nice and yeasty. Fantastic. Oh yeah guys, one more thing. Don't forget to put your wedding ring back on at the end of the job.